Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy. And in a previous video, I showed you how you can search inside a list. And we created the list by creating an array, and we put all the items in that array. And this is technically our list, and we dynamically view it to the browser. In today's video, we want to add more functionality. And the functionality that we're going to add, we want to be able to sort the results of that search. So if I have items and I want to sort them either ascendingly or descendingly, I'm capable to do that. And here is the final result of the projects that we're going to work today on it. As you can see here, they are currently sorted descendingly, as you can see from the arrow over here. If I click on the arrow, it will sort them ascendingly. Also, I can search for anything. I still have this capability. If I put an A, it will return all the items that including an A, and I still can sort the results that get returned from that search. Also having the other functionalities, like if I search for an item that's not exist, it will tell me no item found. So I'll start with the code that we developed in the last video for filtering, and we're gonna add the new functionality of sorting to it. You can go to the filter list video that we did together and get the code from there, because this is the starting code that I'm going to start with, and I'm going to add to it the functionality of sorting. Okay, I hope you're going to like this video, and let's get started. Okay, I'm here in my desktop. This is the folder, or this is the code that we developed in the previous video for filtering a list using JavaScript. I'm going to open it with Visual Studio Code. It have only 3 files, which is the markup file. So I'm going to start adding comments here to make it easy for you. So I'm going to do filter and sorting list, filter and sorting list. Here I have the search input field. So this is search. Didn't change anything yet. Now I want to add the sorting part, or the sorting. This is just a button that I can click on it and it will do the sorting. So I need to add a button here. Just gonna put a comment that's sorting or sort button. And here I need a button tag. I'm gonna give it a class. And this class, I'm gonna call it sort BTN. So inside this button, I'm gonna put the text my list, and I still need to add this icon here. To get this icon, I'm gonna use the material icon library. So I can search for material icons, and I'm looking for the CDN. So material icon CDN, and it looked like this is the link. I can see the CDN over here. You can get it from the materializecss.com. When I click on it, I get this one here, copy it, add it to my code. So now I link the Google material icons to my project. Now I can use them. So in order to use them, I'm gonna go to the material icons webpage, and I can browse any icon. So I'm gonna do the icon that I'm gonna use. You can search for arrow down or arrow up, and it's actually arrow drop down, and this is the arrow drop down we're gonna use. If you click on it, you will see the tag that you will use. As you can see, material icons just class that you add, and the text content will describe what icon you're using. So Actually, I'm not going to using a span. I'm going to using the I tag. However, I'm going to take a copy here, open it here, paste it, and I'm going to change the span to the I for an icon. And do it this way. So it's pretty simple, the markup. We created a button that having the text content of my list, and next to it, we having an icon with an I tag. And that's what you see here. It's the text content. Next to it is the I tag with the icon. That's it for the markup. Let's style it a little bit. And to style it, let's see how this look like with a live server right now. If I open this, so I'm going to put it on the side for now. And we already have the same styling we did from the last project, which is the style.css here. So I'm going to go under the input here, and before the list, gonna style or sorting button. And we give it a class of sort btn. So I'm going to select that class. We want to make the width 100%. Okay. For the border, none. And also the outline to be none. Next, I want to do a little bit spacing in the bottom. So I'm going to do margin bottom. I'll do 1 rem. Also the cursor, I want it to be pointer when I hover over it. Now it's if I save this, it will be a pointer. That's good. Also, I want to do the position relative, because later I want to move this arrow a little bit to the down. So I'm going to create it an absolute position, so the parent will be relative. Next, I want to do the height. I want to give it a height of 45 pixels. Also the font size, I want to change it. I'm going to give it 1.5 rem. Now the font a little bit bigger. Also the font weight, I'm going to make it bolder, 700. Font weight. Now it's bolder. That's it for my button here so far. Now I want to make this icon a little bit bigger. So if you try to target the icon here, or the I tag, and you do font size 30 pixels, for example, as you can see, it's not, let me increase it a little bit. I don't see any difference here. Well, we can increase it in a different way. Because I tried to change it with the font size, but it didn't make any difference. So the second message, I'm going to scale it up the double of the size. So I'm going to use transform, scale twice, and this will make it bigger, or twice in size. I'm going to do a margin left, 10 pixels. So I'm going to give it a little bit space between the text and the icon. Next, I wanted the, as I said, the position to be absolute. And I'm going to do the top. Let's try 25% to try to push it a little bit down. 25%. Yep. That looked much better. It's pushed a little bit down the icon. And now we're going to add the functionality that when I click on it, this arrow will be going upward, not downward, indicating the sorting type. But for the markup and for the HTML, we're done here. Now it's all JavaScript. Now we're going to add all the functionalities. Right now the sorting is not working. However, we still can do the searching. So let's go to the JavaScript file. Make it a little bit smaller like this. And even the filter, we're going to make some changes to it. I'm going to walk you through all the changes we're going to do to that file. And if you don't know anything about this code, you can go ahead and first watch the other video that we developed the filter function here, covered this step by step, how you can search or load this list dynamically. First thing we want to do, I'm going to put a couple of comments here. Here I'm going to put get elements from DOM and store them in constants. This is the first step. We already get the output, which is in that case was the output field here, where we show the list or the error messages. So this is the first one here. This is the output. Also, we have the filter input. Now we want to add our new button here. So I'm going to do constant sort ptn equal document dot query selector, and we give it a class of sort dash ptn. Also, I want to get a hold on this icon because I want to manipulate this icon whenever I click in this button. So I'm going to do constant. It's going to be icon equal document dot query selector. In that case, we give it a class of material icons, and since we only have one, this is going to be getting the hold of that icon. So this is the first step. We bring these two elements, the hold button and the icon, inside our JavaScript file. The next step, I'm going to put a comment here. Listen to user event, because it's an event-driven project. So based on whatever the user do, we want to load specific functions. And what we want to do here, this is the button, which we already bring it in a constant called sort ptn. So I'm going to access the sort ptn, and I want to listen to it. So I want to add an event listener. And the event type that I'm interested in, when the user click on it, so it's going to be a click. And the function that I'm going to execute when the user click here, I'm going to call it sort list. However, I don't have this function yet. I'm going to create it. However, before I create this function, I want to do something here. I'm going to create two global variables. And what I mean by global, that any of these functions, they can have access to them. Like for example, let temp here. Since let temp, it's bounded inside a function. So if I try to access it from outside this function, I'm not going to be able to do that because this variable is only scoping inside this function. So if I try this access this variable from outside the function, I'm not going to be able to do that. However, if you define the variable outside any of the functions, they're going to be a global variable, and any of the functions can access them. The first variable, so I'm going to do global variables. I want the first variable, I'm going to call it ascending sort, and this will determine the type of sort that I want to perform on this list. Initially, I don't want it to be ascending sort. It will be false. And when the user click on it, now I'm going to make it true to be ascending. And when he click again, I'm going to keep toggling this value to make it true and false every time he click on this button. You can think about it as a state. So in that case, we have the ascending sort state, and initially it's false. I'm going to add more variables here, but we're going to do step by step. So I'll keep everything the same way it is. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to do the sorting function. And I'm going to define my function, sort list function. And this sort list function, I'm going to have a temporary variable for the markup. Initially, it will be empty variable. I'm going to have another variable which will hold the sorted list after it gets sorted. So I'm going to call it sorted list. And then I want to access the ascending sort, and I want to toggle it. So I'm going to make it equal to not the value that it was previously on, which is, so initially it will false. Then when the user click in this button, this function will be called and we get the false, and we invert it to true and we store it back in this variable. So simply we're toggling the value. If it's false, we're going to make it true. If it's true, we're going to make it false. And we want to know if the user sorting ascendingly or descendingly. So if ascendingly sort is true, so in that case he's doing ascendingly, I want to do the following. If he's not doing ascendingly and he's doing descendingly, I'm going to run the else statement. Okay, if he's running ascendingly, what do I need to do? I need to access the icon. So the icon, I will change the text content of it, and I will make it arrow drop down. However, if it's sorting descendingly, the arrow will be up. So let's try it now. As you can see, the arrow changing every time I click on it, because I keep toggling the status of ascending sort, and based on that status or that variable, I'll be able to change the icon type here. The next thing I want to do, I want to store in the sorted list the variable that I just made. I want to access the list and I want to sort it. Here we go. And I can console log sorted list. And if I go here, inspect console, and if I click here, as you can see, I'm going to get the array sorted out because I'm accessing the list and I'm sorting my list. Now you can see A, B, C, and then the H, and all the way down. So I'm using the sort function here, which is provided by the JavaScript, which is very easy now. Same thing for if I'm doing descendingly. However, I'm going to do reverse after the sort. So I want to reverse it. I'm going to use the reverse function, and I can console log the sorted list. And now if I go here, click on it ascendingly because it's starting with the A here, descendingly because I'm starting with the Vue, React, and PHP and whatever. As you can see, it's just two functions that I'm using, the sort function and the sort.reverse. So it will reverse the results after sorting them. Okay, now I don't need this console log. This is just to show you how we're gonna access this list. And this is the list, which is the array of the items that we're having here. Now, what I want to do, I want to print out this result to the screen. I'm gonna copy this guy here because this is the code where it's loading the list to the screen. Just gonna copy everything here. Okay, I already defined the temp here, so I'm not gonna use let anymore here. I'm just gonna access this variable which I initially empty, put the markup for my UL, and then I want to loop through, but in that case not through the list. However, it will be looping through the sorted list, and I'm gonna get the item. Everything look good here. Let's see how that look like. Okay, as you can see, it's sorting. Every time I click, it start with A, B, C, and now V. Let's try the searching and then sorting in the same time. So if I press A, the searching is work. However, when I click here, it will sort the whole list. It's not gonna sort whatever I search for. So this is a bug in our code and we need to fix it. And to fix it, it's actually pretty simple. We need to keep track of the result of our filtering. As you can see here, the result is only inside the filter. I want to keep record of any results that existing in this application, and that's what I want to sort them. I don't want to be sorting the list itself. I want to sort any results. Now, I want to make the result as a global where both functions and can access it. So I'm going to create here result, which is a variable here, going to be a global variable. And inside here, load function, this is the same. So I'm going to put a comment here, loading function. However, in the filter here, I'm going to make some changes. I'm not going to initiate the result here. I already did it as a global. So I want to take this constant out. I'm going to take this out. And initially, doesn't matter if there is a result or not. I want to add this markup here to the temp. So I'm going to do let temp. The temp will have this markup, doesn't matter what, here as an initial markup. After that, I want to check if the result is only less than or equal 0, means I didn't find anything. I'm just going to take this out, everything here, delete everything. We just make it more efficient code. So if there is no result found, I want to set the result to one item. It's an array, which in that case, no item found. So if I find anything here, I will store it inside the result. And if I didn't find anything, I will store inside the result array this string, which is saying no item found. Now, all I need to do, just either or, I find anything, or this is my error message, I want to print it to the user. For that, I'm just going to check if there is a no item found or there is a value that I'm going to show to the user. Next, I want to loop through the result if they have multiple items or just the error message here or the no item found. I'm going to run through the result dot for each. I'm going to call it an item, every single item in the result. And what I want to do is I want to check, is it an error or it's an actual item? Because if it's an error, I want to give it a different class to show it differently in here on the browser. So I can check that using the if statement. So if the item is equal to this string, in that case, we should print the error message. If that is the case, I want to use the temp. I want to add to it an li with a class of no item. I remember the no item that will, the class will make a thread and give this error message, and put the item here. In that case, the item will be saying no item found. Then I'm going to close my li, and that's it. So if we having any error, we'll store it in the result, and we check the result having the error, we're going to display the error. Else, if it's not an error, I want to also display it, which is going to be the same thing here. However, in that case, it's not going to have the no item class. However, it's going to have the list item class. And finally, we need to close our ul open tag. So I'm going to, after the loop itself, so going to be temp plus equal. I'm going to close the ul tag. And now I have all the markup that I need. So the markup, in case of its error, we're going to run this line with the no item class. If it's not an error and we find items, we're just going to keep loop through them and display them inside the list. I know we did a little bit changes, but it will make the code more efficient this way. If I save this, and now here, type for anything, and now as you can see we have the no item found. And now we're having an issue here. Let me see. Oh, I misspelled this. It's list item. Makes sense. Okay. Working. However, when I type for anything here, let's check it. As you can see, when I start sorting, it will show the whole thing. Well, that makes sense because I didn't set the results value here. So in that case, I don't need to do the list anymore because I have all my results stored in the global result variable, so I can access the result. Also here, I want to sort any result. If I save that, I go here, type in A. As you can see now, it will only sorting any results that I have. It will not going to sort the whole list as previously. And if I have no found, now as you can see here, it will lose the class every time I'm typing here. This is easy fix. We can inside here, and instead of just adding the item right away, I can also check if it's an error or not. And if it's an error, I will give it this class. If it's not an error, I'll just print it out. So I'm going to copy this guy, and then instead of this line, I'll save it here. Allow list tested. It's working fine. And now let's try to search for something that having an O. We have two items. We can click here, sorting them, and it's working. Item that having P, we have only bootstrap. H will still capable to sort any results. That's it, guys. I hope you liked today's video, and if you like it, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe now, and see you in the next video.